This is David with The Verge, and this is the Asus Transformer Pad Infinity. It's the top-of-the-line Asus tablet, the update to the Transformer Prime, which is actually still one of the best Android tablets we've seen yet. This is a really good-looking device. It has a metallic build and the same concentric circle design on the back, which kind of looks like rings on a tree trunk. It weighs 1.3 pounds, and it's just about 1/3 of an inch thick, which is right in line with the iPad. But with the metallic and kind of solid build, it definitely feels like it would win in a fight with Apple's tablet. The best advantage that Asus's tablets have always had, including the Infinity, is its keyboard dock, which adds a full QWERTY keyboard and a trackpad, and really makes the whole thing feel like a laptop. It works pretty well. You get two-finger scrolling. Typing is much faster than using the on-screen keyboard, but it makes the whole tablet kind of cumbersome and heavy. Plus, it's clunky to get in and out. You really have to jam the tablet into the keyboard. On the tablet itself, you get a surprisingly decent 8-megapixel camera, a micro SD card slot, and micro HDMI out, but the best hardware feature by far is the display. It's a 1920 by 1200 screen and looks really good. It's the biggest update over Asus's other tablets, which have been lower res, and this is a huge reason to get the Infinity. It's insanely bright, has really good viewing angles, and everything is sharp. Though, as you've seen with some tablets, colors can be a tiny bit over contrasted and saturated. The one speaker on the device is really nothing special. It's just a single mono speaker, and it sounds good, but it never really gets very loud. Starting this week, the Transformer Infinity comes with Android 4.1 Jellybean. It's now the only tablet other than the Nexus 7 to have Google's latest operating system, and it really is a nice upgrade. You get features like Google Now and the expandable notifications, and everything is faster and smoother from scrolling to launching and closing apps. But unfortunately, it's not quite as good as the Nexus 7, oddly. There are still lags and stutters when you're scrolling through web pages or pinching and zooming that just don't exist on the pure Jellybean on the Nexus 7. And unfortunately, the big problem that still hasn't been solved on Android is the tablet app problem. There just aren't very many apps designed for the bigger screen. It's also hard to find 1080p streaming content, so the screen's just really not as useful as it could be. If you have your own local content, it looks great, but finding things that really take advantage of this screen is tough. In general, performance is pretty solid. The Tegra 3 processor is really good for gaming, and as we've seen with a lot of other tablets, is perfectly useful overall. And with Jellybean upgrade, you definitely do get a smoother overall experience, even though it's not the game changer we'd hoped. The Tegra 3 is clocked at 1.6 gigahertz, but you can use different power modes to move the clock speed up or down to try and get more battery life or better performance. Battery life, incidentally, is really good. You'll only need to charge it about every 3 days with normal use, though a lot of high-def movie streaming or gaming kills it faster. There's also a huge battery inside the dock, which nearly doubles the capacity, which is pretty great. Overall, the Transformer Pad Infinity is kind of a hard product to review. It's great for watching movies or anything else that takes advantage of the 1920 by 1200 screen. And Google Now is great, but the rest of the Jellybean upgrade isn't quite as impressive as I had hoped. It's also a $499 tablet, at which point it's competing with the iPad and basically every other tablet on the market. And even if you want the best Android experience, that's still the Nexus 7. You'll have to get a smaller, lower res screen, but it really seems to take better advantage of what Jellybean is doing. But if you want a big HD Android tablet, you really can't beat the Transformer Pad Infinity.